acting that by citing a section of the local government code which gives the national government only up to 6 months of direct control over the health operations of the local government units in case of a pandemic. On that note, the IATF has already surpassed the period and should need the concurrence of the LGU concerned. Garcia believed that the local autonomy as stipulated under the local government code should prevail over an executive order which created the IATF. Let's listen to Garcia's statement.
It is that we believe it's about time that we rationalize and put some common sense in the wearing of face masks. This executive order further defines when face masks should be used. Not when you're in open, well-ventilated areas.
Now, Secretary Anyo added that the Philippine National Police should still continue to, quote, confront, apprehend, and arrest, if necessary, all violations of the IATF guidelines in Cebu Province. Garcia, on the other hand, called on Cebu Police Provincial Office and insisted there will be no apprehensions on the face mask rules. She said, if there are violations, just like before, give them masks instead. Now, the governor cleared that the local policy was not born out of, quote, capricious whim, and that every decision she makes is anchored upon existing laws and, more importantly, upon keen observation of the situation here in Cebu. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Dale. Israel there reporting. The health department says the Cebu provincial government did not consult health officials in lifting the face mask mandate outdoors. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere reiterates local governments should follow the interagency task force protocols.
Specifically stated in our IATF resolutions, all public and private sectors and all units under each of these government agencies, including local governments, should comply and abide with the protocols of IATF. RA 11332, notifiable diseases. Kung meron hong public health emergency, the national government has that authority to issue protocols. And these protocols should be complied with by all sectors, including local government.
Vergere says masking is still recommended at this time because of new variants surfacing, a slight uptick in cases, and low booster vaccination rate in other regions. She reiterates masking also protects people against other respiratory illness like cough, the cold, and the monkeypox virus.
Maliit na sakripisyo para maprotektuhan tayong mga kababayan natin, pati ang ating komunidad, ay sana po ay wag po nating kontrahin. Pagamat ang gusto natin sabihin, dahan-dahan lang po tayo, hinay-hinay. Makakarating din po tayo dun sa gusto natin na new normal kung saan wala na tayo lahat restrictions.
When asked to comment about the face mask policy in Cebu, Malacanang says it will defer to the health department. Experts say the COVID-19 situation in Metro Manila has become more concerning. The Octa Research Group flags the region's positivity rate, which rose to 2.2% from 1.5% a week ago. The positivity rate refers to the percentage of people with COVID-19 out of those tested. Octa adds the hospital bed occupancy, as well as the reproduction number, or the number of people a single case can infect, also increased. The 7-day average in new cases also exceeded 100 for the first time since April 8. While Metro Manila remains at low risk, Octa advises the public to remain vigilant in observing health protocols. On to another health issue. Some local governments are ramping up information campaigns amid the health department's warning of rising dengue cases. The Navotas City Health Office says it is reaching out to communities to remind people of basic dengue prevention tips. The city logged a total of 70 dengue cases from January to June, 8 of which were recorded just last week. This number is lower compared to the 81 cases from the same period last year, but officials are bracing for more cases.
Nagsimula na rin po kami magsagawa ng mga space spraying, tapos nag-educate na rin po kami sa community. Para kasi kung kami lang, hindi namin kayang sugpuin yung dengue ng kabila. Kailangan namin ng participation ng community. Hindi yun, nagbigay din kami kanina ng mga insecticides and kung paano gamitin yun, tinuruan na din namin sila. Daily na po ang reporting namin ng dengue. Kasi talagang binabantayan namin kasi bukod kasi sa COVID.
The Regional Health Office in Mimaropa is also promoting dengue prevention through social media. It has circulated an educational video about dengue symptoms and how to protect oneself. These include the 4 o'clock daily habit and the 4S method: search and destroy mosquito breeding sites, secure self-protection with proper clothing and repellent, seek early consultation if one has symptoms, and supporting indoor and outdoor spraying to prevent outbreaks. In other news, fewer Filipinos were out of work in April compared to the month prior. The number of jobless people was at 2.76 million, slightly down from 2.87 million in March. The 5.7% unemployment rate was also the lowest since January 2020. The government says assistance is on the way for poor Filipinos. The 500 peso cash aid payout is expected to begin before the month ends.
Sinakaayos na po ng mga ahensya yung kung mga kinakailangang process ng mga documents para makapag-umpisa na po tayo doon sa pamamahagi ng tulong na ito. We remain committed to deliver the promise of President Duterte na ibigay na po itong karagdagang tulong doon sa ating mga kababayan. At inaasahan po natin that itong 500 pesos per month na subsidy ay maumpisahan na nga po bago magtapos yung termino ni Pangulo Duterte.
Over 12 million families will benefit from the subsidy. Thousands of consumers, meanwhile, are taking another hit as major power distributor Meralco announces higher charges. Rates will increase by almost 40 centavos per kilowatt hour this month. This means households consuming 200 kilowatt hours will have to pay 80 pesos more per month. Meralco says the increase in cost is driven by higher generation charges and fuel prices. Authorities are testing the water in other parts of Batangas to find out the extent of arsenic contamination in the province. George Cahiles reports experts will also check these water sources for another dangerous chemical that may cause cancer.
Gloria is 55 years old and lives in Santa Teresita town in Batangas province. She was found with traces of arsenic in her urine.
Bumili daw ako ng tubig.
Bakit po?
Dahil sa aking balat.
Experts earlier found high arsenic content in the water in Barangay Burol. Authorities have discouraged the people from drinking tap water and using it for cooking. But some residents like Margarita Gonzalez choose to disregard the warning.
Nakasanayan. Sa totoo lang, nakasanayan. Sa awa naman ng Diyos, wala naman akong aanuhan pa. Kaya nga lang, long term pala. Pero bahala na ang Diyos doon.
The local government says the toxic chemical has contaminated a third of the area's water sources. It says it is planning to work with water refilling stations to help supply clean and affordable water.
Priority muna yung aming mga barangay na nangangailangan at tutulong kami sa pagbabayad at pagpo-provide ng containers sa deliveries.
As if arsenic contamination is not enough, health experts also trace high levels of radon in some water sources in Batangas.
If it exceeds yung regulated natin, ay masama din siya. Kasi it can cause na cancer of the lungs. Ang matataas talaga yung area na may fissure. Lemery, Taal, Santa Teresita, kasama yan.
Kaya ako tinatanong ang probinsya kung nagkakaroon sila ng pag-aaral o pagsusuri dito sa sakit na ito at sa contamination na yan, upang sa gayon, makita natin kung meron ng relasyon. May correlation ba talaga ito o wala?
The provincial government says it will continue to monitor the situation in affected areas.
Ang unang-una is to continue ang investigation, surveillance ng mga wells, and then pangalawa is to come up with the appropriate messaging para naman yung mga tao ay hindi ma-confuse, mag-panic, para mabigyan natin sila ng tamang kaalaman.
Water testing will also cover more areas as local officials provide funds to buy water testing equipment. From Santa Teresita, Batangas, George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
Coming up, President-elect Bongbong Marcos says he will continue President Duterte's independent foreign policy amid a fresh diplomatic protest against China. And some tips on how to look out for fake bills as the Bangko Sentral prepares to release more 1,000 peso banknotes to the public. You're watching Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni Bay. SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni Bay.
RPN DXKT 1071 sa dial sa inyong mga radyo.
Welcome back. President-elect Bongbong Marcos vows to continue what the Duterte administration has started in foreign policy. He stressed the importance of Philippine-China ties on the heels of a fresh diplomatic protest against Beijing. Joining us live from Makati City is Tristan Nodalo for the details. Tristan, go ahead.
My President-elect Bongbong Marcos calls China as the country's strongest partner to help us, or crucial to the pandemic and economic recovery of the Philippines. Speaking at the awarding ceremony for those who constantly promote Philippine-China understanding, Marcos says our relationship with Beijing is important and evolving. He also plans to continue the Duterte administration's independent foreign policy, but he did not elaborate on the specifics of what he intends to do on the so-called independent foreign policy. The President-elect says the future of the Philippine-China ties does not only focus on government initiatives but also to people-to-people relations.
Perhaps we will continue what President Duterte has started, what has been described as an independent foreign policy. And this is what we feel is best in the national interest. We can say we are beyond the pandemic crisis. We are beyond the economic crisis brought on by the pandemic. We can only do it, certainly in the Philippines, we can only do it with our partners. And our strongest partner has always been, in that regard, our close neighbor and our good friend, the People's Republic of China.
Meantime, Chinese Ambassador Wang Zhilian believes that the relationship between the two countries will shift to a higher gear under the Marcos presidency. The event comes a day after the Philippines filed a diplomatic protest against China following the return of its vessels in the West Philippine Sea or Julian Felipe Reef. No comments were made by Marcos himself or embassy officials during the event. Also present in the ceremony were former President Erap Estrada, Marcos's wife Lisa, and son Sandro. Also, we've seen the incoming cabinet officials like incoming PCOO Chief Trixie Angeles, incoming National Security Advisor Clarita Carlos, and then we also saw Senator Coco Pimentel, who headed the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations in the 18th Congress. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you. Tristan Nodalo there reporting. President-elect Marcos is committed to addressing the United Nations concerns on the human rights situation in the Philippines. That's according to the UN representative to the Philippines, Gustavo Gonzalez, who met with Marcos today. Gonzalez says they discussed the October 2020 UN resolution that seeks to provide technical assistance to the country amid human rights abuses under the outgoing Duterte administration. The Duterte government has condemned that resolution.
It means the UN and the government needs to work together in addressing some concerns on the human rights. And he is very much interested, for example, in ensuring a consultation for the nomination of the new Commissioner of Human Rights. This was a topic that he immediately raised. And he mentioned also the importance of ensuring a high level of accountability in terms of the human rights.
Marcos met with other ambassadors today, those from Sweden, Ireland, and the Vatican. The Senate majority would have to be consulted on the request of Senator-elect Alan Peter Cayetano to become the chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee. That's according to Senator Migs Zubiri, who is seen as the next Senate president. Zubiri says it's not his decision to make since Senator Francis Tolentino already accepted the Blue Ribbon Committee chairmanship. Cayetano said on Thursday he would only accept Zubiri's invitation for him to become part of the Senate majority if he gets the panel. 18 immigration personnel linked to the Pastillas scam have been dismissed from service. The Justice Department, in its resolution, said the 18 immigration officers and employees are liable for grave misconduct, gross neglect of duty, and conduct prejudicial to the best interest of the service. The BI personnel were said to have allowed entry and exit of Chinese nationals without the regular screening process. The scheme was first discovered in 2020 and was the center of a series of Senate hearings. The administrative case stemmed from the fact-finding committee formed by the Immigration Bureau. Earlier, at least 40 immigration personnel were charged by the Ombudsman with graft before the Sandigan Bayan. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is preparing to increase the circulation of the new 1,000 peso banknote next year. How can the public be on the lookout for fake money? Lois Calderon runs us through some tips and tricks.
The new 1,000 peso banknote is in circulation. Because its polymer is 100% waterproof and does not easily tear. That makes it cheaper for the Bangko Sentral to print money.
England reports a decrease by 25% in production costs. New Zealand decreased by 58% in production note issuance cost as well. And Australia reports $1 billion of cost savings. So optimistic tayo.
At least 500 million new notes with a 1,000 denomination will flow in the financial system by next year. The central bank wants to make sure the banknote you receive is not counterfeit.
Counterfeits are not money, diba? So they do not have value. Therefore, they cannot be exchanged. That's why a person receiving a counterfeit note will take a loss.
Central bank data shows there are 7.9 counterfeits out of 1 million, way below the red flag used internationally.
Nakakainis po kasi, syempre, napakahalaga ng pera, di ba? Tapos, PPKE nila. Dinikit po namin siya sa bond paper, tapos pinost po namin sa labas ng tindahan. Nung pinanukuli po talaga doon ng nagtitinda.
Ano po ang pakiramdam nyo?
Siyempre po masakit kasi pinaghirapan mo yung pera na yun, tapos yung matatanggap mo, peke lang.
The central bank sums up in 3 words how to check if a banknote is genuine. Feel, look, tilt. Feel its texture. Polymer is smooth. Look for a clear window this side with the Sampaguita icon with embossed lines, and you'll find the letters BSP. Check for metallic features that give the banknote its luster or shine and rainbow colors, and then tilt, and you'll see the shadow thread. The old 1,000 paper notes are still good as legal tender. There's no clear timetable yet when it will be demonetized, as Bangko Sentral Governor Ben Jocno leaves the BSP to become Finance Secretary. But December 2022 is the deadline for banks to recalibrate their ATM and deposit machines so the new polymer banknotes will be recognized. Lois Calderon, CNN, Philippines.
Authorities say the driver's license of the SUV owner in the hit-and-run incident in Mandaluyong may be revoked as he snubbed the second show cause order issued to him. Amor Santos has more.
The owner of the SUV that hit and ran over a security guard in Mandaluyong City is again a no-show at the Land Transportation Office. It's the second time that he snubbed the LTO show cause order. Officials say this means he loses his chance to explain his side, as his case is now up for resolution. The LTO's Intelligence and Investigation Division will submit its findings to the hearing committee, which will then make the recommendation to LTO Assistant Secretary Edgar Galvante. They hope to complete this process by Monday.
It is most likely that we will recommend the possible revocation.
His sports utility vehicle can also be impounded anytime, according to officials.
The motor vehicle registration is under alarm. There will be no transaction like transfer of ownership, transfer of change of color.
The police filed criminal complaints against SUV owner Jose San Vicente on Monday. He's facing frustrated murder and abandonment of one's own victim before the city prosecutor's office. On the question whether he was also the one driving the SUV during the incident,
yun po yung presumption natin. Kasi wala naman kasing nilulutang na driver.
Meanwhile, the victim, security guard Christian Floralde, was discharged from the hospital Thursday afternoon. He says he's still on painkillers due to abdominal pain. His security agency says it paid less than 200,000 pesos for the hospital bill. The employer says the SUV owner's camp offered to shoulder the medical expenses, but they turned it down. Floralde, meanwhile, has said he will pursue the case against the SUV driver.
Well, una sa lahat, hindi kasi namin priority na ayusin yung kaso na yan. During the time na tumatawag sila sa amin, nasa ICU yung tao namin, I do not know whether my guard can make it or not.
Sa totoo lang, masama pa rin po yung loob ko sa ginawa niya sa akin. Tinakbuhan niya ako. Hindi man lang siya tumigil. Bago sa iniwanan ako. Pero may Diyos tayo na marunong patawad. Diyos na yung bahala sa kanya.
Police say they are ready to serve the warrant of arrest once issued by the court. Amor Santos, CNN Philippines.
Entertainment updates still ahead. BTS says the best moment is yet to come, but today comes pretty close for the group's ARMYs. Details about the newly released album and music video after the break.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan ni tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay SMC. San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay.
RPN DXKT 1071 sa dial sa inyong mga radyo.
You're watching Newsnight. In time for Pride Month, Rebel Wilson comes out by letting people in on her new relationship that's like a fairy tale come true. The actress posted a photo with her girlfriend Ramona Agruma, a fashion and jewelry designer. The caption reads, "I thought I was searching for a Disney prince, but maybe what I really needed all this time was a Disney princess." Here at home, pop rock band Lainey puts up a fourth night in Manila for its A November to Remember tour. The show added because of high demand is scheduled on November 15 at the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay. Tickets are now on sale. Initially, only 3 Lainey concerts in the country were announced, slated for the 11th to the 13th. And the wait is finally over for BTS ARMY's, the K-pop sensation's new album Proof is out. The 48-track anthology has works from the group's nearly 9-year run and 3 new songs. The music video for Yet to Come also dropped today. Take a look. BTS is set to perform tracks from Proof on Monday, June 13th to mark its 9th anniversary. This will stream live on the group's YouTube channel. And that's it for now. Join me again on News.ph at 7. I'm Maya Rodriguez for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
Ciao.